Hi, my name is Davide Sonten, I'm a sound engineer and producer, and today we're gonna have a look to my mix bus chain with some of my favorite Acustica Audio plugins. First of all, my start point to start a mix usually is to make a general balance of the mix, maybe applying already some EQ where it's needed, but then I try to set up immediately the mix bus chain just to give an overall sound to the track. And then after that I'm gonna start to mix the track going instrument by instrument. Okay, but now let's dive into my mix bus chain with Acustica Audio. The first plugin that I use on my mix bus chain usually is a compressor. In this case I'm using Ultramarine from Acustica Audio. It's one of my favorite compressors to use exactly on the mix bus. He has his own character and it enlarges the stereo image of the track. But let's hear what it does on the track itself. As you can see how much it changed the sound without using a lot of extreme settings, and you can see that the needle of the gain reduction is barely moving, and I think in my opinion that is the best way to use this compressor. Then depends from case to case. Next plugin that I'm gonna use usually is an EQ, and lately I fell in love with this new Acustica Audio Ivory 5. This EQ usually is used for mastering, but I like to use it on the mix bus chain. Of course, on a mix bus chain, you never do, I mean, at least in my case, I never do extreme settings. It's just a general way to give a general sound to the track. Even because if you have to do some extreme settings on the mix bus, this means that there is something wrong in the mix. It's just to glue the mix and to give a little bit more character. But let's hear what it does, this new Ivory 5 EQ from Acustica Audio. As you can see with the EQ, usually I give a little bit of air, so around 12K, 14K, and sometimes, like in this case, a little bit of as well or low mid to give more presence to the track and as well to remove a little bit of harshness in the track. Next plugin in the list, another one of my favorite of Acustica Audio, is Taupe. This is a tape emulation. It's just to give the tape character to the track. It gives you a lot of options. Sometimes I use some presets. You have an EQ, you have a compressor as well. Usually I use just the tape sound. I don't use the EQ because for the EQ, I prefer to use a separate EQ on the mix bus chain, like you have seen. I'm using Ivory 5. This is one of my favorite settings with A and number 3, because it removes a little bit of harshness and gives a little bit of brittle to the track, around 12K or 14K, if I'm not wrong, looking like that from the graph. But let's see what it does taupe on the track. So you can hear how much it changed the track with just some small settings on top. And you can see as well that I'm using it in parallel. I never use it in a full mix, but just in a parallel mix, so around 50-60%, just to give that tape character to the track. And last but not least, another one of my favorite EQ and favorite Acustica Audio Plugins, and is Purple. With Purple, usually I tend to give a little bit of boost in a low frequency, sometimes 60, sometimes 100, depends on the type of track. And as well, I try to give a little boost, sometimes can be the AK, 10 or 12, depends on the track. But let's see in this case what fits better. And here we go, this is my mix bus chain. You can hear the personality and the character that gives this purple EQ. Sometimes at the end of the chain, if I have to give, of course, a copy of the mix to the client, just to hear if he's happy with the mix, I add a limiter just to boost a little bit more volume. But usually this is my mix bus chain, then to give to the mastering engineer. But now let's hear it everything from the beginning. I bypass all the plugins and then I put them back in, and so you can hear the difference with and without.